Hello, this is Arturelia Gaming Room Reviews. I'm Arturelia, and today I'll be reviewing Metal Gear Solid, the first one for a console, PlayStation 1. While Metal Gear did have games before it, like on the NES, SNES, or some other, or just the NES in general, this is the game that actually started it all with it getting bigger. So, this game is basically, with well, what a lot of people say, a masterpiece. Now, what do I think of the Metal Gear series and just the game, this game itself? The one that basically started it all for the others to come. And the one that started it all for being a big success and a big hit. Well, that's why you're here. Today I'll be reviewing the first Metal Gear game. Let's go.
Behind D. Colonel, what's a Russian gunship doing here?
In Alaska, the terrorists have taken control of the base and are planning to launch a nuke with Metal Gear if their demands are not made. It is up to Solid Snake to stop them. Through the story, there will be conspiracy theory and supernatural stuff that happens, and a lot of things that I won't get into, because I don't want to spoil anything. Though along the way, you will meet interesting characters. Obviously, the villain characters are also interesting. I will say though, the Metal Gear Solid stories, they're usually complex. Now this first game's story, it's not that hard to understand. I mean, not when the story kept going on with 2 and 4, which the plot really got complex. But this, for the first one on a console, PlayStation 1, it wasn't really that hard to understand. Maybe a few things here and there, but it wasn't too terribly hard to follow what was going on. But in general, the Metal Gear Solid stories are complex. However, though, I will say there are like points in the stories that are like, wait, what? So this and that? It basically makes you think, but overall, I liked the story. And obviously, the music in here is really great. Awesome music all the way through. For a stealth game, it does a good job. Though, you have to be careful that enemies don't spot you or else. I can tell you there is like sometimes some issues with this game. I mean, it's old obviously, but there are times where an enemy could potentially spot you, but they never see you. So that's a little bit of, PlayStation 1 gameplay. But the only way they would spot you though is if they get close enough. The boss battles are awesome. Hard, but really fun. The stealth is really good if you use it right. Though you can go all out and start ruckus if you want. It gives you the freedom to do that, so that's cool. And I gotta say, there is a lot of great detail in this game. I mean, they put a lot of effort. Every aspect of this game. So really, there's nothing much to argue about the gameplay. As for the gameplay mechanics, for camera, it usually just focuses on looking down at you, the character. Basically the whole time. Although you can put it on first-person view, either sniping or binoculars, or just to view your surroundings. And when you crawl in shafts, I can say the controls are pretty good. You'll get used to the controls and they're all fine. The menu offers VR training, and just options here and there. I never really messed with these. I can tell you this, when you fire your gun in this game, it doesn't really lock on to any enemy. Now, what I have noticed though, okay, so on normal, I think you have to just shoot and try to shoot the enemy if you can. On easy mode, if I'm not mistaken, it seems like it locks on target on any enemy that you encounter. So basically on easy, it locks on automatically, but in normal, you have to aim it yourself. Overall, though, it gets the job done. You can also fight with your fists, or simply come up to an enemy and attack or strangle or topple them over. And as for multiplayer, there is no multiplayer. This is totally a single player game. For replay value, you can come back again and play the story again. It's an awesome game. There may be like some extra things they might have when you come back to play it, but I didn't come back to like fully see the extra stuff that they give you after you've beaten it the first time. The only thing I saw is like you have that bandana. But that's about it. At least what I saw. But that doesn't mean there might be more extra stuff. I don't know. I haven't replayed it all the way again. And I can tell you that the characters in this game, from the villains and the heroes, all interesting, and I liked, you know, the dialogue and all this conspiracy stuff that they were talking about. It just made the game, in general, an interesting game. Metal Gear is very interesting when it comes to that stuff. And I can say it works, because some of this stuff kind of relates almost to real life stuff, even though it's fiction. So in all honesty, I mean, the story delivers, the characters and the voice acting's really good too. All of it delivers. Well, Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1 delivered a lot. I really, really loved this game. It was awesome. Some intense scenes and just epic battles and fights and the music. This game basically has everything, and you will like this game. So I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. It is an awesome game. One of the best PlayStation games ever made. And I like the Metal Gear series. Yeah, it kind of gets confusing with story stuff and blah blah blah, but what matters is the gameplay, and you know, I like the story. I like most of the stories in the Metal Gear series, even though they're complex. I still like them though. They're really fun and entertaining. For my recommendations, I will point you to Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid 4, and Metal Gear Solid 5. And obviously, you know, they jumble up the timeline, and then there's obviously, like, I guess you can see the spin-offs, but also the others that follow the timeline. So there's enough Metal Gear games to go around and play. Well, this is Arturelia Gaming Room Reviews, signing off.